What is going on, guys? This is Miasin. So at the current moment in the OCG, there's an extremely good engine by the name of Fiend Smith that is going that is being played basically in a lot of decks, and there's a good reason for that. I mean, it's a very compact engine. It's only like 4 to 6 to 7 cards, whatever, depending on how you want to make it. A few cards in the extra deck, and it doesn't take up your normal summon, doesn't restrict you, and it can make you end on an additional like rank 6 or an Omni Negate, pretty much anything you could ask for. Again, it's really reminiscent to the Orchest engine, but with less bricks, because pretty much every single card in the engine that you gotta play is good. And I will be going over the details very soon, because I will be discussing all the cards and all the options for this engine, and I'll be going over 3 small little combos for you guys. But before this video goes any further, I would really appreciate you if you could smash the like and subscribe button. Let's try to get this video to 1,000 likes. I know we can make it. And huge shout outs to my sponsors, of course, Inspire TCG as well as Dueling. Go check both of them out. I'll link in the description box below. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Alright, so first things first, if you got the Fiend Smith in your hand, there's a lot of ways that this combo can, can go. But the first one, if you want to search the normal spell, well, the quick play spell card that summons a token on your field, it's pretty reminiscent to Sky Striker Hornet Drone. So you can kind of go into like a Link 1 that isn't Kagari, but even better, it's a Lone Fire Blossom, so you're going to special summon a Fiend Smith from the deck. And then you got the graveyard effect of the Fiend Smith to revive itself back by shuffling back a Light Fiend from your graveyard back into the deck or the extra deck. And the Link 1 also has an effect where you can place it in the spell and trap zone by equipping it to the Fiend Smith, or rather any Light Fiend monster on your field. And then on the field, the Fiend Smith can send an equipped spell equipped to it, and then another monster on the field to the graveyard. So you can even break boards while doing this combo going second. And if you're going first, then, I mean, you can make a Wave Hiking Caesar and beat Nibiru, because this card can negate any spell, trap card, or monster effect that includes an effect that special summons a monster. And it's now once per turn. It's really nasty. And it negates and destroys. It's just, this card is unfair, right? So if you can summon this card in 5 summons with only 1 single card, you still have 4 other cards in your hand. Yeah, you can kind of imagine the amount of stupid things that the Fiend Smith engine can allow you to do, but this is really just like the most simple thing that you can do. Let's get into the next combo. Alright, so yet again, I have the Fiend Smith in my hand, but this time I'm going to be searching a different card. This time it's going to be the normal spell card that searches, so I kind of confused like this combo with the other one. This is a little different because this card reads, add 1 Light Fiend monster from your deck to your hand and discard 1 card. So it is a searcher and then you discard, so you can abuse the Fabled monster. There's only 1 monster that you can search with this card, pretty much, that has an effect to revive itself back. And then in the grave, you can banish it and then fusion summon a Fiend Smith fusion from your extra deck by using monsters on your field or hand as materials. So it's a polymerization from the graveyard, pretty much. But yeah, we're going to be searching for Fabled Luri, and if this card is discarded to the grave, mandatory effect, special summon it. So it's going to come back, and then you make the Link 1, Requiem. This card requires any Light Fiend monster, and it's a Link 1. It's pretty insane, but it can only special summon it once per turn. It does matter, because otherwise you would have like so much fuel to always, you know, go into the effect of like all of your Fiend Smith monsters, including like Sequentia, which is the Link 2 that fuses, but it's fine. Anyways, Fiend Smith, revive back, and then you can make a rank 6, or you can make the Sequentia, the monster that I just mentioned. So this card is really good even outside of the Fiend Smith. You can play this in Infernoid even, because it has an effect where you can fusion summon any Fiend fusion from your extra deck by shuffling the materials from your graveyard into the deck. So in Infernoid, we used to play Proxy F Magician to fuse into Infernoid Evil, but this card is different because you can, it's kind of like a Miracle Fusion. It's really just, it's even better even, because you are always going to have the fuel for your Infernoid monsters so that you can keep sending with Decatron, and you don't have to banish anything, so you don't like really waste resources. But yeah, you're going to be fusing using the Fiend Smith as well as Requiem for Lacrimosa, and on summon you get to revive back any Fiend monster from your graveyard banished, or you can add it back to your hand. So it's also a level 6 monster. So now we got 2 level 6s on the field, and then the effect of Sequentia will equip itself to your either Fiend Smith Lacrimosa or the Fiend Smith. And then we're going to be overlaying for Beatrice, and then Beatrice will detach the Lacrimosa in order to send Angel of Blue Tears. So if this card is in the graveyard and effect damage is inflicted, you can banish it and then set a normal trap card directly from your hand or deck. And if it was set from the hand, you get to use it this turn, which isn't like super relevant, but still, if you're playing, I don't know, something like Infernoid and you're sending like Void Feast, you can Void Feast right away if you draw it, which is not too bad. And with the effect of Lacrimosa, since it was sent to the graveyard, you get to shuffle back a Light Fiend from your graveyard or into the deck or extra deck, and then you burn your opponent for 1200. And since, again, effect damage was inflicted, the Angel Blue Tears can set any normal trap card, so you can get access to D-Barrier or any floodgate really of your choosing. In the OCG, they're going for D-Barrier, Black Gold Lapse, and a Pointer of the Red Lotus. These are the 3 extremely dangerous normal trap cards that you get to access. Again, only using one single card. So we're seeing a lot of people main decking this engine because it really just is that good. Or you can even side deck it when you know for a fact that you're going first. It's a lot of pressure that you get to apply for sure. So yeah, that's it for this one. Let's get into the third and final combo. Alright, so yet again, what you can do with only one copy of the Fiend Smith, because it's not an engine that requires you to play pretty much anything else. I mean, obviously, it's not a deck that can be played pure because there's only one main deck monster. And also, like, there's like a limit to what you can do with one monster. But if you have like other cards at your disposal, man, you can do some really nasty things, especially if you got like the Fiend Smith and another level 6 monster that you can summon on your field. It becomes a little out of control. But this is like one of my favorite combos because you can end on an Omni Negate, and a really good one as well that can solve like a lot of your issues. But anyways, we're going to be searching the Searcher and then get your Luri and then discard that and then revive back and then go for the Requiem and then tribute itself, get the Fiend Smith. So the difference between going into this combo or going into the other combo where you're going for the Sanctum or Sanctus or something, the quickly spell that summons a token, is that with this one, you get Tractus in the Grave, which obviously has the Polymerization-esque effect, but also we're getting Luri in the Grave, which is an extra light fiend, which is going to be the material for, well, either the fuel for the Fiend Smith so that it can revive itself back from the grave, or material for Sequentia. Anyways, speaking of which, we're going to shuffle back Luri into the deck in order to summon the Fiend Smith and then link 2 for Sequentia. And then fuse again using the Fiend Smith and Requiem and another Fiend Smith for Dies Irae. It's a weird name, but it requires 3 monsters, so the Fiend Smith and 2 Light Fiends. And it has an extremely good effect. So quick effect, you can negate the effects of a number of face-up cards on the field until the end of this turn up to the total link rating of the link monsters equipped to this card. So you can negate like 2 cards in one shot if the link 2 is equipped to it, which it does have that ability from the field or graveyard. And then also, if this card is sent to the grave, you can shuffle one other Light Fiend monster from your grave into the deck or extra deck, then target one card on the field, send it to the graveyard. So that's also very good if you're trying to break boards. Or if you can, like, I don't know, like link this off using IP Masquerade now on your opponent's turn, after using the negate effect, that's also going to lead to like 1 additional interruption. So that's also not too bad. But then we're going to be going for the Tractus effect, so fuse using the Dies Irae or whatever, and then Sequentia to summon Lacrimosa. And Lacrimosa can revive back the Dies Irae, and then we're going to be going Sequentia effect from the grave. And then now our Dies Irae has 2 negates. I mean, it can negate once, but 2 cards on the field, or up to 2 cards. So our opponent uses pretty much anything, and we can negate that as well as anything else, really, if we want to, which is not too bad. And then, yeah, if we had like any other level 6, then we can also use Lacrimosa and that other level 6 to make another rank 6. All that off of 1 single card, which is very scary. And again, we don't have to use our normal summon for any of that, and we're not locked under anything. Like, there's really just no restriction, as you can see. It's so filthy, and this is what we can do at the moment. Imagine in the future. Anyways, now let's talk about the engine and, you know, all the good cards that can work with them. So obviously, the Fiend Smith is always being maxed out at 3 copies, regardless of the deck that you're splashing the Fiend Smith engine in. It really just is the heart and soul. It has 3 effects in total. So in your hand, you can discard it and then add any Fiend Smith spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. And then on the field, you can target 1 Fiend Smith equipped card you control and 1 monster on the field, send them to the grave. So again, very good going second. And in the graveyard, you can shuffle back 1 other Light Fiend monster from your grave into the deck or extra deck, special summon it back. Everything about this card is great. It's such a good card. So yeah, people are always playing 3 of that. And then the Sanctus is the Hornet Drone, so that's typically a 1 of. It doesn't really do that much else, and it does lock you a little bit, but not under like no special summoning or something like that. But rather, you can't declare attacks for the rest of the turn except with Fiend monsters, and you can only activate this card if you control no face-up monsters, or all face-up monsters you control are Light Fiend monsters. So very similar again to Hornet Drones in a lot of regards. And it has like another irrelevant graveyard effect, like if a Fiend Smith monster you control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect while it's in the grave, you can send it back. But yeah, this card is only played as a 1 of, and then the Tractus is anywhere between 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 copies of. Like this, I've seen every number with it. But if you play this card, you do have to play Luri. Otherwise, there's nothing that's really worth searching other than the Fiend Smith. And then you're also searching search cards, which makes you play into Droll. And that's another trend that we started noticing in the OCG. A lot of people are playing Dueling in the main deck right now, because again, people are going to Fiend Smith, search into this, and then if you Duel them, then they can't search Lurie, and then their entire engine does nothing, and the rest of their deck also does nothing. Because people are so desperately trying to beat Nibiru that they end up losing to other hand traps instead. So keep that in mind. If you really want to be ahead of the curve, you could just main deck 3 Duel, not even play this engine, and just like play, you know, a deck that just doesn't lose to the other hand traps, and you should be fine. But if you really want a lot of gas, especially post game 1 when you know for a fact that you're going first, this is the best engine that you can play by a long shot. It's not even remotely close. Anyways, the one Light Fiend monster that you can search that, you know, revises itself back when you discard it would be Fabled Lurie. So it's a mandatory effect. Again, it can't miss timing, even if it was a win effect. And then there are 2 normal monsters that you can summon with Unexpected Die if you want to play that engine. But you don't really need them. It's a White Dustin, and the other one, I forgot the name, but I think it's an OCG exclusive at the moment, and I think it exists in Animation Chronicle or maybe Infinite Forbidden, I don't know, but whatever. If you have access to White Dustin now, then just try to get your hands on it. It doesn't really do anything other than go into the Link 1 monster, if I can find it. There you go. But yeah, this is also a 1-for-1 target. Anyways, some other Light Fiend monsters that you can search with Fiend Smith Tractus, because again, it searches any Light Fiend, right? It's not just a fabled monster, the Fiend Smith, so you can search Majesty's Fiend right away. It's a little disgusting if you haven't used your normal summon yet. You just tribute summon that and you win. So it can be like insta-win against the Snake Eye deck. And then you can also search Santa Claus, so going second, this can be a good option. If you're already playing this engine, you might as well splash in 1 Santa Claus, instead of having to rely on, like, you know, a bunch of, like, board breakers that you have to physically hard draw. You now have, like, 4 Santa Claus if you're playing 3 Tractus and then 1 Santa Claus. Kree Photon is a searchable hand trap in a way. So you can beat Tenpai Dragon because they can't OTK you. You pitch it from the hand and you pay 2k. And for the rest of the turn, you take no damage. So again, includes battle and effect damage. So you're not getting OTK'd and you're not getting FTK'd by Gimmick Puppet. But that's all it really does. Yeah, the other effect, you have to pitch a Photon monster from your hand to the grave to recycle it back. Like, who cares? It's completely irrelevant. Speaking of Kree monsters, there's Astral Karibo that you can search with Tractus. And this card's not too bad, honestly. So you can make, like, I don't know, like the Crooked Crook using this and another level 4. And if they don't have the out, then they don't have the out. You're just gonna win. But the Snake Eye deck can easily out Crooked Crook because of Flamberge. So they can place one of your monsters in the Spell and Trap zone, and then your Crooked Crook is no longer unaffected by card effects, unfortunately. So keep that in mind if you're trying to deck people out. It used to be played as the other Mystic Mine-esque card. Anyways, Archfiend Eccentric, yes, another, you know, pretty scary card that you can search. Well, not necessarily, but I mean, it's just a good card that you can search with Tractus. It would have been nice, again, if Mystic Mine was a thing. You know, the fact that you can just, like, play 1 card that you can search at any time that to just out, like, 1 Floodgate. But if your deck, like, does lose to Floodgates, I mean, being able to search, like, an MST-S card or an out, like, Vanity's Fiend and stuff like that, that's always appreciated. Valmonica, I have no idea how good the deck is, but I guess you can search this one. Not that it really matters. Lightsworn, you can search Vice, which is not bad, actually, because the Lightsworn engine might be very good with a Fiend Smith, because, again, just a bunch of light monsters, extenders, level 6s. You're probably already playing Bestials in Lightsworn, so if you can make, like, Beatrice more often, that's even better in a deck that's trying to mail anyways. And there's another rank 6 that you can summon in Lightsworn that's probably even better than Beatrice. I'll be going over that very soon. And finally, the last deck that can benefit off of Fiend Smith Tractus would be the Magical Musketeer deck. Every single monster is a Light Fiend, so Tractus is just a generic reinforcement of the army for this deck. Not too bad at all, huh? Now for the cards that you can either send with Beatrice or, yeah, pretty much just send with Beatrice, really. Angel Blue Tears, like I said, with Different Dimension Ground, D-Bear, and Blackout Laughs, the best targets, I want to say, for Angel Blue Tears. You can also send Archfiend Hyris in order to search Symbol Archfiends. That's just like a better way of accessing the trap card, the Floodgate, without necessarily going to Angel Blue Tears. So it's also not too bad. Or you can even play this in Lightsworn since we're mailing so much. Hey, yo, so many options. And also Archfiend Hyris can search Archfiend Eccentric. Not that it matters, but yo, this card is so easy to search, goddamn. And the other trap cards, of course, that you can send are Transaction Rollback and Ghost Meets Girl and Eradicator Epidemic Virus. So the Mayakashi trap is kind of like almost a turn skip. It's like a D-Bear on crack, like you can't summon like at all, like you can't special summon. And then Eradicator Virus, everyone knows what it does. For the monsters that you typically are trying to play, DS Array or whatever, if you're trying to negate cards, I mean, it's easy to go into, but you do have to play the bigger engine. If you're trying to play only the super small engine, all you can really do is like one rank 6 monster, and that's pretty much it. Unless you're really trying to commit to a lot of cards in your extra deck, which I don't really recommend, because then you have to start playing like Sequentia and even Lacrimosa. I mean, Lacrimosa is always a good one, but still. Requiem, obviously the link one that you have to play. The Moon of the Closed Sky is the new Nightmare Cerberus Phoenix Goblin-esque monster to go into Requiem, which is pretty much Nightmare Mermaid. So you just turn like 2 effect monsters into Moon of the Closed Sky, and then you link off Moon of the Closed Sky into Fiend Smith Requiem, and then you summon Fiend Smith from the deck. So that's why I really compare it to the Nightmare, to the Orchest engine. It's pretty much almost the exact same thing. Anyways, Underworld Goddess is a card that you can also play if you're already playing Moon of the Closed Sky. So now you pretty much use like what, 3 of your own monsters, and then 2 of your opponent's monsters to make like a Link 5 monster. That's not too bad. So it's, you don't have to feel like too bad if you have to play this card. And then after linking off everything, then you can also turn Underworld Goddess into Fiend Smith Requiem and keep playing from there. Nightmare Griffin, another Light Fiend monster. Alright, this card's pretty nice. So if you're locked under Light Fiends only, which I don't know how that would happen. I guess there has to be like a way somehow you can be locked. I don't know, don't really think so. Oh, no, never mind. It's just that the ABC deck was locked under Light only, so that's the reason why I had it. But yeah, Nightmare Griffin's not too bad, and also I played Evil Storm Excite on Night in the ABC, so that's where I really made the correlation. If you want to play the Fiend Smith engine in Plunder Patrol, you can probably do that if you summon Liss, but that's pretty much the only way. And then Magnum the Reliever in like, I don't know, the Chimera deck really, or something else that plays Polymerization as cards. Probably not, because you're usually locked under Fusions only. And then the rank 6s that you can summon are Caesar, Beatrice, Evil Zor Lars, and another negate card, or Wallow and Pilgrim Reaper. So that's the card that I was referring to as being better potentially than Beatrice in Lightsworn. So you can detach material and then make each player send the top 5 cards from their deck to the graveyard. By the way, there is another deck that might be able to kind of maybe take advantage of Fiend Smith Requiem in a way. The Fiend Smith engine would be the Evil Twin engine, because Kisekil is a Light Fiend, so you can turn that into Fiend Smith Requiem. I don't know how relevant that is, though. And also, Valmonica has a bunch of Light Fiends, but they're so hard to summon. You're not summoning a lot of monsters in that deck, unfortunately. And Magical Musketeer, the other insane one. I think that might be like one of the best decks to be able to use it, but the issue is the deck is like not really good, even though their Link 1 is completely cracked. And finally, the Trap card, I don't really recommend playing it or taking a look into it. It's just not really that good. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Fiend Smith engine discussion in a way. You guys let me know how you feel about it in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.